Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, this is the Reader's Wand and I am Ashley, and this is my 24-hour readathon vlog for Chain of Gold. So I knew that I wanted to do a separate video for Chain of Gold, and what better way to do it than to vlog it and get my real reactions. So it is now 10:30 and I'm going to see how much I can read between now, 10:30 on Saturday, and 10:30 on Sunday. So let's get into it. Okay, so I am only 20 pages in and I am loving all of the little shout outs to Will, Jim, and Tessa. And I've actually already done some marking. So I already marked, I can't really see them, but I marked all of the times that Will, Jim, and Tessa have shown up. And I marked some important stuff already, but oh my gosh, I'm loving it so much. As someone that loved the Infernal Devices, like with my whole heart, like 5 out of 5 for every single one of them, cry every time I read them, I am just loving this so much. Okay, so we've been introduced to a lot of characters that are related to a bunch of different characters. So I had to create a list of who everyone is related to, and I'm just gonna slip it into my book as reference because there is 2 Herondales, a Fairchild, 2 Lightwoods, a Blackthorn, and 2 Carstairs. So it's a lot. It is 2:42. It's almost 3 o'clock, and I'm only 130 pages in, which my ass thought I read 100 pages an hour, but I guess not. As you saw, I put together my furniture set, and I had some lunch. So that took a while, a couple hours, but I was listening to the audiobook, and I guess I just wasn't listening to it as fast as I would usually read. But I have just gotten to the part where the boys get together and decide to send James into the mortal realm. And there's some sketchy stuff going on with Grace, and I feel like she might be part of all this because he like kissed her or whatever, and he didn't feel too great afterwards, and he seems like more in tune with demons than we might have seen previously, because of his mom being Tessa and, you know, all that stuff. Yeah, so they're about to send him into the demon realm. Like I said, not much has happened. I have no idea if I'm gonna be able to finish this today, but, you know, I hope so. I hope that I don't have to, like, get up after 2 hours of sleep to finish this by 10:30 tomorrow, but I'll do it if I have to. I do not trust Grace. I am loving the little hints of romance, like romantic feelings we're getting from James, because at the start of this, I thought that it was going to be like an unrequited love type thing where Cordelia just kind of like pines after him. And I'm liking that we're like seeing James like not really sure about how he's feeling about her. And even Grace was like, oh, it's fine, you're just like in love with her. And which makes her even more suspicious, like her behavior even more suspicious, and me more suspicious of her, because why is she so lovey-dovey with him, or, you know, hugged up to him, if she thinks that he likes Cordelia or loves Cordelia? Like, what is she getting out of it? Is she just using him as like an escape from her family, or what? Suspicious. Very suspicious. I kind of like this spin that any shadow hunter that has been raised in like London has not really experienced like demons, because I don't know, like it's just it gives like a whole new light to like their feelings and them like being trained to hunt but not really being hunters, if that makes sense. So like they're experiencing this brand new, and it's kind of interesting because we have always seen shadow hunters as like this brave group of people that just like instinctively throw themselves into battle and they're not afraid of anything, and we're definitely seeing some differences than that, and I'm really liking it. James just compared Cordelia to someone in a book that Tessa likes. Okay, Lucy just said a great line that I think perfectly like sums up my suspicion about this whole Grace and James thing as we're like learning more, because she says, James used to feel pity for her being Grace, said Lucy as the carriage started to move. Then it seems that somehow he fell in love with her, which is very odd, really. I've always thought of pity as the opposite of love. That is very true. I don't know, it's mighty suspicious. I am loving seeing Tessa and Will as parents. Yo, is James dumb or is James dumb? He gets the bracelet that like is Grace's, right? And while he's holding the bracelet, he can't transform from his shadow self to his regular self. And then the bitch asks him to wear it. Hello? Cassie Clare is just coming through with this evidence. He's sitting here thinking of Cordelia, and somehow he's ending up at Grace's house. Am I suspicious of Alistair? I like that Cassie carried over the hatred for ducks from Will to James and how they were both bitten. That was, I see you. Okay, that scene with Anna and Evangeline, with Evangeline sitting on her stoop, is... I shouldn't find it funny, but... The girl was like, I thought I was the one. I thought they didn't mean anything. She goes, they didn't. Anna said cheerfully, and neither did you. Is this gonna be like a reverse harem situation with Cordelia and the guys? I might be okay with that. Also, this line is iconic. Anna says they need a muse, someone to be inspired by, someone to know their secrets. Would you like to be a muse? No, said Cordelia. I would like to be a hero. Same. Alright, so I am exactly 200 pages into Chain of Gold, which is chapter 8. I need to do some cleaning around the house, so I think I am going to pop my audiobook in and listen to my audiobook. I think it's so funny that Lucy writes like it's not fan fiction, but like stories, and Cordelia is like the character in it, and they're like romance. Oh, it's so, I love it. Am I shipping Lucy with a ghost? She just called Jesse her ghost? was the warlock that brought Annabelle Lee, or Annabeth, whatever her name is, back from the dead in The Dark Artifices. Was it Fade? Malcolm Fade? Yes, it was Malcolm Fade who did the thing in The Dark Artifices. And Cordelia just walks into this place, like this restaurant, I guess, or meeting place for downworlders and stuff, and she walks in and Malcolm Fade goes, there's no Blackthorn blood in your family, is there? He asked suddenly. No, none, I don't think, said Cordelia, surprised. Good. These little interactions is why I love Cassandra Clare. Like, I think her writing is so great because she puts in these little intricacies that are like a wink to her other series. It's just so good. Cordelia and James, yes. Cordelia and Matthew, yes. Are we gonna get some Will and Tessa and Jem goodness? We get this gem of a pickup line. My lovely, your hair is like a beautiful stream because there are fish in it. Okay, Cassie Clare giving us some of those enemies to lovers. Red flags, James, red flags. She's... Red flags. Oh my god, no. Oh, Alistair. Alright, so this is not like a critique of the book because this is the first book in a series, but a lesser, like, side character died, and I don't care. Like, I care about it hurting the person that they're related to, but I don't care about them. But they're like a side character, so... Cassandra Clare really, like, put in a wink to herself. The person that died, they're talking about the person that died, and Lucy says, and one should put truth in books, she thought, but this would never be the sort of thing she would put in the pages of the beautiful Cordelia. Books were about experiencing joy. This was the raw and awful stuff of life. It was much too terrible. I see you, and I'm watching you, and I don't like it. Okay, so I am on page 294, which is officially halfway through Chain of Gold. It is 7 o'clock, so I started it at 10:30, so it took me 8.5 hours. That doesn't seem good. So hopefully I will read a little faster, because if it still takes me that long, then I will finish it at like 3:30 in the morning. But if I go to bed at 1, then I would need to get up at 8 to read what's left. So I'm loving it. I feel like I am back in a familiar world with people that are just like so comforting to me and just friends, and it's making me want to say F my TBR and read the whole series, like the whole Shadowhunter Chronicles all over again, because I'm just having so much fun. And Cassandra Clare has this way of writing like angsty teens that even though I'm 23 and I haven't been a teenager for a couple of years, I just feel like they're so relatable to me, and it's just so much fun. It's just so comforting to be back in this world. And even though the beginning was a little bit confusing because you kind of are just like thrown into the mix of like all of these different characters, and so trying to figure out who they are related to and like trying to keep it straight in your head while also enjoying the story. Once you get further in and you get more comfortable and you kind of get their personalities, you don't really feel like you have to just constantly be like, oh, that's Will's son, or that's, you know, Charlotte's daughter. You know, you don't have to like constantly remind yourself who they are. They just like become their own characters, which is nice. And even though they're not super distinctive, this being like the first book, we haven't really gotten a lot of strong feelings about the characters, like as far as like who they are. We know some things about each person, like we know that Christopher likes experiments, and we know that Matthew is like a low-key alcoholic that no one talks about, and we know that Thomas was bullied when he was a kid for being small. Like, we know little things like that. We haven't seen them as people, which I think is pretty common with her work. We really get most of our character development as the series goes on. I know in Lady Midnight, which was, or I'm sorry, Dark Artifices, which was her most recent series, the first book, while it was like 600 pages, just like Chain of Gold is, we really got most of like the character growth and like the feeling of who the characters were as the series goes on, as events happen that make them show their true colors, I guess you could say. But I'm just loving my experience, and I know like once I finish it, I'm gonna want to immediately reread it, and I'm probably going to save my audiobook so that I can read it again. I'm like doing a reread of all of the books through audiobooks. And right now I'm on the Clockwork Angel, but I'm probably going to do all of the chronicles, including the short stories, and I might include Chain of Gold in there. I'm not doing them by publication date, the actual chronological order of them. The characters feel like friends, and I love that about Cassandra Clare's works. Like, people complain that Cassandra Clare she only writes like in this world. And I think the reason that she does that is for this exact feeling that people can be in this world and be attached to these characters without even knowing them. Mortal Instruments to me is like a 3-star read. Every time I read it, I loved it when I was a kid. I ate that up. And every time I've reread it, I'm just like, yeah, it's pretty okay. But the Dark Artifices, which is like a divisive trilogy, some people love it, some people think it's so overhyped. I personally love it. And the Infernal Devices, which is like also the same, like some people love it, some people don't. They were just like so good, and I'm always excited to read them. And I lost my train of thought because I was gushing. But I think that she just creates like these worlds that people just fall into. And I have watched people who didn't read these, aren't nostalgia reads, and they're still like, you know, I really like this. I like the world, and the characters are just so endearing. And my thing about this Chain of Gold thus far is like, I'm having a lot of issue deciding who I want my pairings to be, because as you've seen, I'm real sketched out by Grace. And I don't know if she has something to do with it inadvertently or whether she is something else, because she has a rune on her hand, which means that she can be, and that she might be a shadow hunter, because we know that demons can't be runed, but also some like real weird stuff's going on right now with demons. So who knows, maybe this is like a game changer, you know? I really like James and Cordelia. I think I just like Cordelia. I just want Cordelia to be happy, and I want her and James together. But then we get scenes of her and Matthew, and I'm like, yes. But then we also get scenes of Matthew and Lucy, and then I'm like, yes. But then we also get scenes of Lucy and Jesse, who's the ghost, and I'm kind of like, yes. Like, I want it, but I shouldn't want it. One common thread amongst the Shadowhunter series is that parents aren't really like a thing. They're there, but they're really seen as like hindrances. And I think in Chain of Gold, she tried to veer away from that, because the parents are characters that we've seen before and that we all love. So she didn't want it to make it seem like they're just like good for nothing, but they still are kind of not there. Like they're there and they're loving and they're great, but the kids are still doing things behind their parents' back, you know? So I don't really have anything else to do today. I did a lot this morning. We got our patio set in, so we've been like slowly furnishing our house. We moved into our house in August, and we pretty soon after we bought our house, I lost my job, so all of the money that we had saved up kind of went towards like just, you know, maintaining or whatever. And now we're like getting to a point where we're comfortable like furnishing our house. And so we are slowly getting stuff. And now that the weather is warmer, I knew that patio furniture was something that I wanted so that I could sit outside, because I love our yard. Like our yard is big and gorgeous and it's quiet and it's just peaceful. And so I knew that I wanted that, and it came in today. And so I had to set that up while I was listening to an audiobook. And then we also got a rice cooker, and that came in today, and then we wanted to try it out, and we didn't know how to use it, so it was just a bunch of stuff. But yeah, I am pretty content with how far I got in. If I had to be completely honest, like I thought I'd be done at this point, but I'm like reading it pretty slow, which is fine. Like I'm not upset about it, because I'm like halfway through and I'm already sad about the idea that I don't have another book to pick up, which I know is going to be a big deal because like this just came out, and so it's going to take a while for the next one to come out. But yeah, I've been talking for 15 minutes and I'm just rambling. I'm gonna get back to it. I'm gonna stop ranting and get back to it. Matthew just hit on a ghost. What are you doing? What? What? What, baby? Really? She said what? Mm-hmm. Okay, bye. Yes. You want to help me read? Mm-hmm. It's happening. Cordelia just said to Lucy, "I don't think I should leave you alone. It seems scandalous," with Matthew. And Lucy said, "Matthew's not a man. We used to hit each other with soup ladles as children." Cordelia rather expected Matthew to laugh, too, but instead he looked away, suddenly occupied with a spot of dirt on his sleeve. Matthew calls Lucy loose, and it reminds me of when Will calls Tessa Tess, and she's like, "No one calls me that but Will." Oh. Matthew just got called out for his drinking. I freaking knew it. I freaking knew it. I freaking knew this chick was crazy. I knew it. I knew she was not a good person. Okay, I love this. James got, like, he had like this weird reaction to him and Grace, like, and he took one sip of gin and like he had this super weird reaction. I think it has something to do with her, but Matthew like had to carry him back home because he fell off a bridge because he was drunk. And he said, I said nothing to them, but apparently I'll just blur it out. The meeting, and they deduced you were trying to drown your sorrows. I told them that you'd only had a sip of gin, and they decreed you as a lightweight. Why is Kit such a cute name for Christopher? I don't know about this. I kind of feel like Charles and Grace are in cahoots. Oof. 380 pages in, and we finally get an on-page kiss. That's what I'm talking about. In all the Shadowhunter books, they have never had so much of an outright king. Oh my gosh. James just confessing his feelings straight up. Cassandra Clare really did that. Lucy and Jesse? A ghost? Lucy and Matthew? Can she have both? Every time Jesse shows up, I picture that scene from Casper, the live action movie. And they're dancing. And she's like, can I keep you? Her mother is... What? I didn't realize how much Jem means to everyone. Midnight with only 100 pages left. Okay, it is 1:45. I am exhausted. I'm about to get in bed. I finished the book, 5 out of 5 stars. So good. I'll give you my opinion tomorrow. All right, guys, so it is Sunday at about 10 o'clock. I finished Chain of Gold at 1:45 last night, so it took me about 15 hours to read. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. This follows the children of the people from the Infernal Devices, which is chronologically the first series in the Shadowhunter Chronicles. Objectively, this was the best one in the whole Chronicles. Cassandra Clare's writing just gets continually better and better as she goes, and it was great. Because I know this is the first in a series, I can point out some flaws that are just pretty common with first books in series, and just common with a book that has a large cast. It can kind of be hard to relate to all of the characters. When something happens to one of the characters, it can be a little bit hard to feel emotionally about what happened to them. But something that I have noticed with Cassandra Clare, she shows the personalities that her characters have and their strengths and their weaknesses through the various things that happen to them. They're not like, I like to paint and let's get 45 pages of me painting. While that's nice, I don't really care about their hobbies, and I don't need to know about their hobbies and their likes and dislikes to relate to them. I relate more to how they handle situations and things like that. So I can really see this being a cast of characters that I feel very strongly about, and I'm excited for the rest of the series. I loved the romance in this. I really liked Cordelia and James's relationship, and I like Lucy and Matthew's friendship and possible budding relationship if the problems with Matthew are addressed, and it seems like they were a little bit in this one, but I hope that they are a little bit more dealt with as the series goes on. I overall, like, my enjoyment level was so high for this, and I had the same feelings of comfort that I always do with her books, and I thought the ending was really upsetting in a good way. Like I didn't like the ending, but I liked the ending, if that makes sense. The ending was heartbreaking for a number of our characters, but I think that it was a good ending. So overall, I really like this, and I am very excited to pick up the next book in the series whenever that comes out. But that is my 24-hour / 15-hour readathon of Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare, and I had so much fun. I loved just reading this straight. So that is it, and I hope you guys really liked this video. Comment down below your thoughts on this book. If you've read it, if you haven't read it, if you're against Cassandra Clare, if you love Cassandra Clare, let me know down below. Let me know your favorite series in these chronicles. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. I hope everyone is safe and sound, and thank you.